Hey everyone, John here from All Miniatures Great and Small, and today we're going to do a quick look at and review of two different games that share the same theme. We're going to be looking at Doctor Who Exterminate, the miniatures game from Warlord Games, and Doctor Who Time of the Daleks board game from Gale Force 9. So we're going to be looking at kind of both of these games, their similarities, their differences, and since this is All Miniatures Great and Small, we're going to be taking a especially close look at the miniatures that come with both of these games. That's really what excited me about getting these, and why I picked up both was cool Doctor Who miniatures. So we're going to go ahead and take a look at these and be right back. Alright, this is Doctor Who Exterminate, the miniatures game from Warlord Games. They have the BBC Doctor Who license, just like the Gale Force 9 game, so both of these are authorized games, if you will. On the back, let's take a look at the back here, see what we get. So Doctor Who Exterminate, the miniatures game, comes with 12 Easy Fit plastic Time War Daleks, 12 Easy Fit plastic Cyber Legion Cybermen, 14 plastic Cyber Mats, double-sided 36 by 36 battle board, card scenery, 34 recruitment cards, 56 adventure cards, 36 battle cards, 16-page rules booklet, 12-page adventures booklet, 24-page guide to the time vortex booklet, 10 combat dice, 2 quick reference sheets, card ruler, and 59 card tokens. So, the pro right off the bat is you get a lot of miniatures in it. But interestingly enough, just because even though it's a Doctor Who game, you do not get any miniatures of the Doctor or the companions in this box. You have to get the expansion. So the only thing in this box are the two factions. You have the Daleks and you have the Cybermen. So that's it. So that's something to keep in mind. To get the Doctors, you're going to have to order their expansion packs. And their expansion packs kind of look like this. This is a 12th Doctor and his companions. So you pick them up here as a separate purchase. So keep that in mind when you're looking at the Exterminate game. Alright, so here we have some of the contents of the game. You have the adventure booklet, turn cheat sheets for both sides, Daleks and Cybermen, with the weapons tables on the back. We have the rules themselves, nicely made little rule book, full color. It is 16 pages of rules. Then you have their little catalog, other games that they make, and then a guide. I'm not sure what the difference is. A guide to the time vortex versus so this looks like just general tips on how to play, scenarios, assembly and painting guide. Very cool. Alright, so we have those. Also comes with a couple of sheets of, this looks like just terrain you could lay down, some pipes, the TARDIS itself, some kind of pedestal, counters, ruler. Then we have the map, and this is just a paper map, so just giving you some basic terrain. Detail looks nice, so that's kind of a nice touch. You don't need to build any terrain out of the box. You get a battle mat and you get some cardboard templates to put down for terrain, which is pretty cool. Then you have the cards, And it looks like even though it doesn't include like the Doctor in miniatures form in the game, in the base game, you do have cards for him here. You have the 10 dice. You have another stack of cards. And then you have the miniatures themselves. So these are the Cybermen miniatures. You get 2 frames with 6 Cybermen on each one. Plus you get the little cyber mats, which are these little guys. So let's see if we can get in a little close. You can see some of this detail here. And you see they're very nicely detailed. There's a cyber mat. And at least on the frame they do have different poses. These 6 aren't exactly the same. You know, that guy's standing right there. This guy's walking forward with his left foot, right foot forward. So it's kind of cool. So you get 12 of those, plus the cyber mats here. And then on the Dalek frame, you get the same thing. You can build 6 Daleks. And they come in appropriate color, so if you don't like painting, you don't have to. So very, very cool here. And then I kind of built this guy, although already I broke off his toilet plunger. But it can give you an idea of that model. That's kind of cool. Alright, and then just to show off, I did purchase a couple of expansion boxes. One is the 10th Doctor, which is one of my favorites. Now, I did put them on a 25mm like spare Games Workshop base instead of the flat bases they come with like this. Just because I wanted to give them a little bit more height and kind of consistent with my other models. But you can see this actually is a metal model. And it's very well detailed. Looks just like David Tennant. Alright, so that is the contents of the Doctor Who Exterminate board game. So my thoughts on this game is it's very skirmishy. Now I haven't opened everything here, but I have played another friend's copy. And it's a miniatures game. I mean, it is a tabletop skirmish type game at its core. And that is good and bad. The mechanics seem fine. But it is a little out of place as far as the Doctor Who universe. You know, you want to play, you have the protagonist, which is the Doctor, and you know, it's very competitive. Like the best examples, like the sonic screwdriver, is really just a weapon in this game. There's nothing super special about it. So it takes those elements of Doctor Who and just kind of breaks them down into a very combat oriented game. But if you like that, that's what you are looking for, then you want to check it out. The other thing is, obviously, you need to invest in the expansions if you want to actually play with the Doctor. You just get Daleks and Cybermen in the base box. So you probably want to look for the expansions as well. And they do have a lot of expansions. Check out the Warlord Games website. This game's been out, I think, longer than the Gale Force 9 game. So there are all kinds of expansions. You can get a box of the Silence and several of the Doctors and all the companions. And they don't have a complete range yet, but they do have some really cool models that look excellent, and from a collector's standpoint are exceptional. So you might not even want to play the game. Like, I don't know how often I'm going to play this, if anymore, but just from having the cool miniatures and stuff like that, it's pretty awesome. So there you go. That's a look at Exterminate. Alright, here we have Doctor Who, The Time of the Daleks board game. So this bills itself as a board game as opposed to the other Exterminate, which bills itself as a miniatures game. But this one comes jam-packed with miniatures as well. So on the cover, I want you to note, though, it's got all of the doctors except the brand new Lady Doctor. So you got that on the cover here. But flipping it over on the back, we see what we get as far as the contents of the game. And we've got the contents down here at the bottom. We've got a rule book, 15 plastic pieces, 4 TARDIS consoles, a scoreboard, 20 location tiles, 25 dilemma tiles, 8 time anomaly cards, 30 timey-wimey cards, 18 dice, 45 tokens, 31 character cards, 4 reference cards. But if you look up here, it shows that this box only has 4 doctors and Davros. It has the 1st, the 4th, the 11th, and the 12th. So all your Tom Baker fans, you can be pretty happy that he's included in the base box. So it doesn't come with the other doctors, but this by having 4, it does let you play a 4-player game. Alright, so that's the box. We'll go ahead and open it up and take a look. Okay, so Doctor Who's a board game, so it's not a skirmish game. You don't measure your models out on the table with a ruler or anything like that. But it is a tabletop board game. So your models do kind of move around the track, trying to stop the Daleks from destroying the universe, as they are wont to do. The mechanics are pretty fun. We've played this a couple of times, and just to learn the mechanics, and really enjoyed it. At first, I was a little worried. Now, this isn't a review or a playthrough or how to play this game, but just to give you an idea, it's based on dice pools. So you build dice pools, and your doctor has a certain amount of dice he generates, and then different companions give you certain dice combinations. And then you have to resolve these things called dilemmas, which are basically like an episode of the show. So this dilemma is the boneless. And then it tells you what you need to roll to complete the, to complete this dilemma. So here, this one just needs these icons on the dice. So again, these icons are what you need to roll. And when you think about it, these icons kind of play to the characters. You've got running icons, or there's a certain amount of physical activity involved. Science icons, you're going to science that problem and resolve it. Idea icons. And then they slot into systems. So this dilemma, if it's taking place on a location like Trenzalore, not Trenzalore, in the future, your dilemma goes there, and you actually need to complete those 6. So you actually tell a story as you go through here. You try to, if you're Matt Smith Doctor, you might talk him to death or resolve the problem with lots of talking. Depending on who you are and what companions you take, your dice pool is different, and then you can resolve the resolve these challenges. So it's really cool, and if you fail, you put a Dalek piece on that planet to denote that the Daleks are taking over the universe, and once all the Dalek pieces are out on the board, the game is over. Or if the Dalek mothership gets to Gallifrey, to basically delete you from time and conquer the universe that way. So it's really cool. This is a Gale Force 9 game, and it kind of reminds me of another Gale Force 9 game, which is the Firefly game. The Firefly game I really enjoy. It feels like you're playing the TV show, and this kind of makes you feel like you're playing in an episode of Doctor Who. So thematically, I really like this game. It captures the theme of Doctor Who, and that's kind of what I wanted. I liked that mechanic in it. Other thing I've got to note is, well, you got miniatures for the little TARDIS. Every player has their own TARDIS miniature. They have pretty nice detail for being plastic miniatures. There's the 12th Doctor. My perhaps all-time favorite, Tom Baker. I don't know what he's doing with his hat, but it looks pretty cool. Not looking forward to trying to paint that scarf, though. That will be an interesting challenge. And then we have bad guys. You get a Davros miniature. And a bunch of these Daleks. All of these are pre-assembled. I didn't have to build anything. Short of just snapping the plastic color indicator on the base. And these can actually change during the game, so they pop on and off. The other thing to which my family is very happy was included is a little K9. I honestly wish they included more than one because my daughters constantly fight over this little guy. But it's really cool. And basically if you draw the K9 card or companion, or I forget if he's equipment or whatever, he gives you extra dice to help you resolve your problems. Because K9 is awesome that way. So to kind of wrap this look up, the Doctor Who Time of the Daleks is a pretty fun game. I've played, I think it's been 3 games so far. And we've enjoyed all of them. We had a lot of fun with them. The miniatures are really cool. And I hear rumors they're going to have additional Doctor packs, which will be a cool way to add new doctors, additional companions, all that stuff to the game to make it fresh, or to keep it fresh anyway. So that is Doctor Who Time of the Daleks. So there you go, guys. That was a look at both of these games, the Doctor Who Time of the Daleks board game, as well as Doctor Who Exterminate the Miniatures game. Both of these bring unique things to the Doctor Who universe. The miniatures game is a skirmish level battle where you have a lot more detail. But on the flip side, there's no grand sense to these battles. You're playing a skirmish against a particular thing, a particular mission, and it really doesn't fit into a narrative or anything like that unless you come up with your own narrative. There's no overarching story. But that said, that might not be what you're looking for, and if you want a skirmish game set in the Doctor Who universe, Exterminate's really cool. The other thing to note are the miniatures. The miniatures are really nice, and they do have an awful lot of expansion sets. So go ahead and check out the Warlord Games site to see all the other models that they offer for this game. And that's really cool. The Doctor Who Time of the Daleks board game is more of a Doctor Who experience. It's like you're playing an episode or a season of the show. So you have goals and things are going to be familiar to you. Bad guys are going to be familiar as you come up, and companions, and is Tom Baker going to have Amy Pond as a companion? Well, that can happen in this game, and that's kind of a cool thing. And the miniatures are pretty nice in this one as well. Gale Force 9 doesn't have any expansions yet, but they have said they will be coming out with expansions with doctors and companions and whatnot. So that's something to look forward here to. Now, something you can do, these are pretty much the same scale. So you could use your miniatures from this game in this game and vice versa. You want some extra Daleks, you got them in here. You want a Davros. I think they make a Davros too. But for example, like my 10th Doctor, he's not in this game yet, so maybe I could make up my own card, and I've got the miniature form. So you can do things like that. Neither one of these games is super expensive. They're not going to break the bank. I suppose if you get this Exterminate game and you buy every single expansion, like this one, it will get pricey. rather quickly. But just the skirmish game in and of itself, it's not too bad. Now, if I only had money for one of these, which one would I get? I'm going to have to go with the Gale Force 9 one, just because of theme. It feels like Doctor Who. I've got a lot of skirmish games. Daleks fighting Cybermen feels like Resistance fighting Terminators, or Marines fighting Martians, or you know, you've been in that arena before. You just have different markers. The Doctor Who board game gives you a story. You get to unravel a story, and the other thing with that game is the 4 players, they can only one wins, but they're all trying to beat the game, whereas this is more competitive. I'm against you and you're trying to wipe me out. But I would have to give it to the Doctor Who Time of the Daleks board game if I was going to get one. But obviously, see, I bought both. And I think most Doctor Who fans would like that. The other cool thing is you could go with this and just buy their expansions if you like the models. Because the only thing in this box is Cybermen and Daleks. So if you want the character models and don't particularly care about the game, you can buy these in the cool boxes for just the stuff you want. So there you go, guys. That is my look at Doctor Who Exterminate, the miniatures game from Warlord Games, and Doctor Who Time of the Daleks board game from Gale Force 9. Thanks for watching this. If you liked it, please let us know down in the comments below if you've played these games. You have a different opinion also. I'd love to hear what you guys think about these games. You also please check us out on Facebook at All Miniatures Great and Small. Follow us over there. We'd appreciate it. We try to let you know what's coming up on the channel so you can keep up to date with that. As always, I appreciate you watching, and keep on wargaming.